So I took time to look at this because this is the housing authority of the city of Los Angeles. Okay. So they have a notice here notifying Section 8 participants of the changes to the program due to the recent budget cuts. So LA today, the housing authority of the city of LA, HACLA, notified Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher HCV applicants and program participants that effective August the 1st, 2025, rental assistance subsidies levels will be reduced for all new rental agreements. This is directly due to the reduction in funding, federal funding for the Section 8 program, HCV. That's the Housing Choice Voucher. So to minimize the impact to families already in the program, HACLA has adopted a hold harmless policy, which ensures rental assistance will not change for families who remain in their current unit. Due to a preliminary notice of a significant funding reduction in March of 2025, HACLA announced a pause in processing housing applications and voucher issuance affecting more than 3,000 families. After recently receiving its final funding allocation from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, for 2025, HACLA has determined that it is still in a funding shortfall, necessitating further cost containment measures to prevent families that are housed from losing assistance. Furthermore, the pause in application processing remains in effect. Housing stability is critical for the well-being of families, communities, and the overall economy. This is said by HACLA President and CEO Lourdes Castro Ramirez. HACLA is doing everything possible to minimize budget cut impacts to the individual and family that are served by our programs. We have taken swift action to inform participants, applicants, property owners, and partners, and are actively taking steps to reduce costs while continuing to seek funding solutions. HUD has indicated that nearly 50% of the public housing authorities administering Section 8 programs across the country are also experiencing funding shortfalls. To aid agencies, HUD established a nationwide $200 million shortfall fund. HACLA has submitted a request to cover the funding gap. The notice to participant applicants and property owners indicates that effective August the 1st, this year, 2025, HACLA will change the voucher payment standard from 120% to 110% of the fair market rent or small area fair market rent for new rental agreements. So the VPS is based on bedroom size and zip code. So you got to see the schedule and the sample notice. So HACLA held informational meetings with numerous stakeholders about the budget shortfall in March and in June. Notices to the participants and property owners will be posted on the HACLA website. So HACLA will host webinars to further explain changes to the program and the impact to participant applicants and property owners in July. With the participation of 13,000 property owners, the Housing Authority provides housing assistance to nearly 60,000 low-income households in the city of LA. Federal rental assistance lowers rent burdens for families, provides a steady stream of income to property owners, and allows households to afford a dignified, affordable place to call home. The President's domestic policy bill includes a proposal that would reduce funding to the Section 8 program by over 40% and would block grant most housing programs to states with 2-year rental assistance limits for able-bodied adults. The proposed cuts would have a devastating impact to the social safety net and low-income families, which would further destabilize households and increase the risk of homelessness. About HACLA, the Housing Authority of the City of Los Angeles, established in 1938, provides affordable housing, rental assistance, and supportive services to more than 200,000 Angelenos. Its administrative portfolio includes 164 properties, 13 of which are public housing developments totaling 12,000 units, along with more than 60,000 housing vouchers and certificates through the Section 8 program. For more information, you can visit www.hacla.org. Now, that is the press release or the news. That's for just the city of LA, not even the county. So I would believe that maybe the county is similar to what the city is dealing with in terms of these proposed cuts that are coming, or that are upon us now, I should say, because of the big beautiful bill from the White House. There's been a lot of worry about people's programs being cut, and these are social programs having to do with Medicare, having to do with housing assistance, rental assistance, such as this program, and I'm just reading this one off. And that's pretty much how they have sat down at the table, and they've tried to put out as much information to the participants of these programs. And I'm sure whatever your state or your city, you would have to be informed by looking at the websites for those programs as well, because maybe they have different rules, they have different requirements, but probably similar, with it being cuts, of course. So I want to say this, and I did say this in a previous video that I had made, that people gotta understand to have some empathy, because I know it's easy for some people to look at others and say, you know, the people who have been on Section 8 for 20 years and for 30 years or whatever, it may be easy to point fingers at other people and even belittle other people and put them down to say that they're lazy. But we really don't know all of the stories and what is going on with all of the individuals, because everybody's situations are different. But I wanted to point out one other thing that I didn't mention, is that some of us think because we don't get any of these programs, or we're not on these programs, and we may be educated and have our legs and we have the use of our arms and our mental capacity to go out and get a job and fill out an application, get a career, that nothing will happen to us and we can just pay our way and we know how to stand on our own 2 feet. We've been taught to become independent and to be able to thrive on our own. But a lot of things are not promised to everyone. We're never able to predict our futures and what could happen. You might be somebody that's self-sufficient, you're able to do everything on your own, and somebody could come along. It could be somebody that is intoxicated and they hit your car and you get in an accident and you become paralyzed. Now you need to be on one of these assistance programs. Lord forbid if that be the case. It could happen. We could maybe be working and doing fine in our careers and thriving and doing well, and somebody get ill, maybe we get ill, and that medical bill might be what breaks our whole situation, changes our life forever. Hospital bills because of an illness or unforeseen affliction. We would hope that those things don't happen. Somebody in our family, something could happen and we may be the one to help that person. It could change our income and how we live forever. A lot of things can happen to people that could change their lives. Well, you might say, well, I put money away for those incidentals or those emergencies or unforeseen catastrophes and disasters. Well, so what if something happens where that money isn't of no use to you because that money has to go into something else that's a much needed situation that we may not even be aware is coming, an unforeseen event. And what my point is we never know, we can never predict our futures entirely, that everything is always going to be the way it is. So I feel like sometimes when I would look at those videos and see young people saying that they agree with Trump's 2-year plan, that you need to get it together in 2 years, and we never know what could happen to us that are able-bodied and we think we're on our own 2 feet and we got this. Remember, you're not always going to be the same age that you are. You're in your 20s or your 30s, and you don't know what your health history is going to present to you. You might not even realize you might have a pre-existing illness that has not manifested itself yet. And I'm not wishing these bad things on people. Sometimes these are realities that we are not aware of. Things can happen to people, could change their course of their life forever, that we're not even thinking is going to even occur to us. That is why we have to be mindful of how we talk about other people and how we treat others that may not have the things that you have. I just want to mention that. We've grown as people to be very insensitive to other people because this is about capitalism, getting that bag, getting that paper, getting that cheddar, that cheese, and all that attitude and that ego. You could be the richest person in the world and you can lose everything. It could happen. You could be the most popular person and you could lose all your popularity and become the most hated person. I've seen this, especially in the internet world. You could be on top of the world, living comfortably, and all of a sudden some unforeseen tragedy happen and take everything that you worked hard for away, like a fire. All the things that you've worked for, that you've earned, and you could look back and you sit in your home and you relax and you got this house and you paid it off, and all you're doing is paying the taxes and reaping the rewards of what you worked for, and then some or unforeseen natural disaster come and just take it all away. We've seen this. Have compassion for others. That's what we lack as people. As a species, we're just so into ourselves and so into making money and so into our self attitude and bias. We don't see that these things can happen to us. We're just busy belittling one another and tearing each other down and criticizing each other, not thinking that we too could experience hardships, setbacks, tragedies, And I feel like we have missed a lot as people. Young people, I'm listening to you and some of the things that you say. And being an older woman, I understand where you're coming from. It is hard trying to get out there and get on your feet. And I'm seeing people living out of storage units, living out of RVs, living on the streets in tents. Maybe they're using the drugs because they're trying to forget the pain that they're experiencing because they've lost everything. And maybe they're going deeper down the rabbit hole. I don't know what it takes for people to understand that we're at the end of all of this. We all are human beings, no matter what color, what gender, and race. And it's hard for some people to see that because we're so busy chasing paper. Have compassion, have empathy at least for others' circumstance, knowing that you too could succumb to some of these tragedies. Be realistic. If you had nothing else in your life to depend on, and these were your lifelines because some unforeseen tragedy happened in your life and these people are bashing and belittling you because you can't get out there and get a job. It isn't just that. There's more to the backstory than that. That person can't get out and get a job. Maybe they've been paralyzed from the waist down, or they have some kind of disease, or they have some kind of deficiency, bone deficiency. Maybe they are stricken with some kind of affliction. Maybe their mind wants them to get out and do things, but their body won't let them. It can happen to some people. Maybe they have some mental deficiencies. And deep on the inside, they want to be a part of society, but society doesn't allow them to do this successfully because they have some problems with reading, or they have problems with writing or understanding. Some people have been able to get through these things and break through some barriers with help and maybe some assistance from others. And in others, it isn't that easy. We need to not tear each other down, but I know this right here might not seem that significant, or it may not be that interesting to some folks to have some sense of empathy for others. But I'm saying this because we have really become very insensitive, and I believe that was some of the choices that we chose when we were at the voting polls. Some people were thinking, I'm going to target this group, I'm going to target that group, or I don't care because I'm in it to win it for myself. But now we've hurt everyone, including ourselves. Some of us don't even think we hurt ourselves. We think we're on top of other people because we're educated and we're able to get out and get our bag and do our grind. Not thinking that one paycheck away, our lives could change forever. No, I got a family that's rich. I've seen rich people have a lot of money and lose everything. Or something happen and they get cut out the will. Or they're not physically able to get out and do nothing no more. They're shut in. And they feel insecure because now they can't do the things they used to do when they were out there getting a bag. So I'm just saying people need to have more compassion. They need to know how to separate themselves from their bias. They need to learn how to have empathy for other people. That's all I'm saying.